another episode of Two Doc Sunday Grunt. As usual, I am Dr. Luis Fonseca. Spent 22 years on active duty as a U.S. Navy hospital corpsman. During my tenure, I was involved in the Battle of An Nazaria, which subsequently got me awarded the Navy Cross for my actions on that day. Before we go a little bit further, I do want to put out the disclaimer. This show is not to provide any psychological or medical help. If you do see the need to speak to a mental health provider or your doctor, please reach out to your primary care management team. As well, tonight's topic will touch on the life of a young sailor that we lost due to suicide, and their families on board today. So we want to put out a little warning that tonight's topic, although usually our topics are sensitive, you will see how close this hits to home and how it affects everyone. So with that being said, Nate, you're up next, brother.
I'm Nate Emery. I'm your token grunt of the Two Docs and a Grunt. Served 33 years in DOD. 22 years was with the Marine Corps. The first 12 I was enlisted. And combat tours were in Operation Desert Storm and Mogadishu, Somalia. And before we move on to Doc Barry, I'd ask you if you're watching this, well, anybody watching this now, if you click like for us or subscribe so you'll be notified when the next videos we have come on. And next, Doc Barry will introduce himself and begin the introductions and how we came about to get our guests tonight. And all right, Doc.
Hi, folks. My name is Andrew Barry, also known as Doc Barry. I am a psychologist and psychoanalyst, and I specialize in working with veterans and first responders battling with post-traumatic stress disorder and related mental health issues. I cannot recall the particulars about how I was introduced to Jolee and Mike. I can't remember if you guys saw me do either the old vet talk or the old chief talk for first responders, but it culminated, and Mike, your head's bobbing up now, so maybe if you can remember, it culminated with both of you guys visiting me at my office, giving me the great hug mug, which is right on top of my desk, and I look at it daily. It was a very deeply moving encounter to hear about the organization and your son. And I'm glad we can finally do this. So as a way of starting this, in addition to if anybody remembers the particular more about how we met up, I wanted to ask you guys, um, who was, what was McCoy all about before he joined the Navy? What made him tick? What made him go? Who was this kid before he signed on the dotted line? Go ahead.
All right, you should be able to hear us
Yeah,
now.
unmute. There you go.
So McCoy was a knucklehead. That was probably the best way to describe him in a nutshell. A knucklehead with a big smile. He was silly. He was, in a lot of ways, and Jolee can attest to this, was larger than life. That larger than life personality. And so he would do silly things to make people laugh, to make people smile. He really cared a lot about people as an empathetic person, and all the way through high school as well. So he was just a big heart and just bigger than this world, really.
Yeah.
Do you want to add to that?
I mean, that's pretty. He was known for his monkey noises and his random wearing of a banana suit just to make others laugh.
Yeah, walking around town.
Walking around Colony or showing up at high school or showing up at our pastor's driveway playing basketball in a banana suit. So
he definitely kept us on our toes.
Yeah, from day one, he kept us on our toes.
Yeah, that's it. Beautiful boy. Yeah.
What?
Great kid.
What did you guys have any inclination that McCoy wanted to join the service?
not right out of high school. Like he was doing a little bit of work. At that time, I would say we were.
Well, he signed up the August after graduation.
Yeah.
That might not be true. It was it might have been the end of high school that he decided to go, and he was actually going to go into the Air Force, and he wanted to be a nurse, and the Air Force did not have that. And I know it's not called a nurse, but and so I said, well, that's not, because he has his CNA. And I said, well, that's not what you want to do, so let's go to a different branch. So he went to the Navy and signed up for the Navy, and then they told him that would not be his job. So
sorry about that noise. That's our dog. He drinks a lot of water.
He's all of 10 pounds. You would think that we had a great day.
Sorry about that.
No need to
So I
apologize.
think I think college just wasn't in his, he just didn't want to go to college, and so he had to do something, right? So, and he was in, what was that program that he
did do Civil Air Patrol for a little while as well.
When he was young.
When he was younger. So that might have had some influence there to some degree.
Okay.
Did y'all have any Navy or any family that was in the military at all, or?
Yeah, several uncles, Marines.
My grandfather,
my stepfather was Army. Yeah, so there's quite a few of our family members that served.
But to say we were a military family, I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that per se.
Yeah.
Just a little sprinkles here and there type of a deal.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. A little salt. That's right.
Yeah.
Got it. What was his favorite cartoons growing up?
Oh, probably Ed, and Eddie.
Which apparently we told them that they were not allowed to watch. I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
But they watched it anyway, I guess, is what our daughter tells us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yep.
And so Macoy had one sister. Any other siblings?
Nope. Just a sister, Sienna. Yeah.
The two, huh? So I can't imagine, and definitely we'll dive into a little bit more later, but what it's like growing up with your sibling, and then all of a sudden you realize that they're not going to be there for the milestones that you would go through as siblings later on in life, right?
Yeah, she was 18. She was 18 and he was 20 when he passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So big brother, and then that's another factor, right? Wow.
He did not know life without him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry. And what would y'all say his teachers would say about Macoy, about who he was as a student? Because right in between, in front of mom and dad were one person, in front of our teachers were somebody else, and in front of our friends were totally
Nope, he was who he was. He was with us, with them,
pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
I would say he was a handful, is what they would say. There are a couple teachers in grade school like resigned or retired. We
joke that he retire. I mean, he went into their classroom and it was their last year of retire, like they were retiring. Right. But we joke that he pushed it along.
Might have sealed the deal for them. Couple teachers.
Like kindergarten and first grade.
So I would say a handful for sure, because he just was a ball of energy.
Yeah.
The best way I could describe it is like a pinball machine, but with like 100 balls in there. Yeah. And that's kind of what his energy level was.
Yeah.
From the moment he could crawl, it was like they were chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did he play any sports growing up? Was he involved in any other extracurricular activities?
Yeah, he played soccer younger.
Yeah, I coached them and both kids in soccer when they were younger.
Yeah. Through high school, he did track and volleyball. Middle school, he played football a little bit.
He did love basketball, though.
Yeah.
He was a big basketball fan, so he would play all the time, and I'd have to foul him just to get a point. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love I've been on y'all's nonprofit page, and one thing that I love is, and I'm gonna pull it up for right now. Oh yeah, I love this collage of all of you guys.
Oh, that's on our website.
You should have just been like, oh, that's right. But yeah, I mean, that's where I got it from. Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Wow,
yes.
that's awesome.
Yes, yeah. That I love that.
I
pumpkin.
apologize.
Yeah.
You are correct. This isn't on your website. This collage is from no, it is saveourservicemembers.org, the Hicks family.
Oh, so SaveOurServiceMembers.org actually is another Gold Star family that started that organization.
Oh, okay.
Right. And they lost their son,
Patrick.
in I think it was it a few days? It was like 10 days into boot camp, I believe.
It may have been more than 10 days into boot camp.
And,
their story is pretty horrific.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's way too many of these.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, I love this just because I think it captures, the essence of the family over here,
Yeah.
right? All four of y'all here. I remember being a Navy sailor myself, that picture being taken when we often take that picture. And I'm going to assume that's a graduation, these two right here.
That is graduation,
Yes.
and most people think that's him hugging me. That's actually our daughter, Sienna, that they're hugging. Yeah.
Little sis right there, huh?
Little sis, yeah.
Yeah.
And so about how old was Macoy here there, Mike?
In that, I want to say 19, no,
18,
19, like in that.
No, 18.
18, sorry.
Yeah.
So right before he shipped out?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And then
he
actually
turned 19 in the ceremonial guard in Arlington.
Yes. Yeah. So right out of boot camp, he was selected for a ceremonial guard in Arlington.
Well, now that we cut, we learned a little bit about who Macoy was as a child and the young man who later on became a sailor that you all did a wonderful job raising. He went to boot camp, and then out of boot camp, did he not go to a rating school? Was he undesignated?
No. He was. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
No, that's okay. No, so with ceremonial guard for Arlington, you go straight from boot camp to Arlington. Okay. I think it's a trick.
Well,
I say that laughing, but I also kind of mean that because so you have to be a certain height, you have to look a certain way, you have to be handsome, and it's considered the face of the Navy because they're doing things for the president, they're doing things at Arlington,
VIPs.
VIP events,
right?
Things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in boot camp, it's sold to them that they will have their own private shower and a queen size bed. And here you are out of boot camp. I mean, how incredible does that sound, right? Like my own shower and a queen size bed, I'm in. And that's basically what he said. So you go straight to Arlington from boot camp, and
there was a 12-week training program.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably about that. A very tough training program. Yeah.
Yeah, no, from my understanding, that training program isn't for the weak. Like the people they select, I've had a couple of friends, 2 Army buddies of mine and one Marine buddy of mine that did the ceremonial guard there in Arlington, and told me that the training's not for the weak, and also that the selection. So and I want to say this maybe right now, in case someone's online looking up of who Macoy Hicks was and see that unfortunately ended up taking his life while he was in the brig. Like the people that get selected for these aren't people that are causing trouble in boot camp. They're not the ones that any we call them RDCs, recruit drill commanders. In the Marine Corps, they're called drill instructors, Army drill sergeants, Air Force. I think they're drill sergeants as well too. But if they even think that you have any lack of maturity or any lack of discipline, they will not recommend you at all for these programs.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you talk to us a little about what your understanding of this program was? I
Yeah,
took a
he
little
was.
pause
Sorry.
because did anyone else's go out? Can we check?
There was a little bit of a blip, but didn't
A
go out.
blip, right? Okay.
Blip in
All
the
right,
matrix.
we're good. All right. But yeah, sorry about that, Mike, to cut
No
you off.
worries.
But yeah, can you just explain to us from y'all understanding what that all entailed, what his training entailed, and
So it was pretty rigorous. Like minute to taking like we froze. He spent about 40 to 80 hours just polishing a belt buckle because it had to be perfect. And if there was like a little speck, it was a fail. And like you had to understand Macoy when I'm talking about that ball of energy to get him to do that level of detail and do it well and pass through the ceremonial guard was a tremendous feat for him that he overcame, that he accomplished.
nice.
And I'm super proud of him for that. But the challenge is he was very proud of his service there. He took it very, very, very seriously. And the sorrow that the families faced when of the families that he was doing these services for, roughly about 6 to 8 services a day, he was very empathetic, so he took that on. A lot of that sorrow was part of his PTSD that he was struggling with. The noise in his head that he couldn't turn off, and a lot of that sorrow stuck with him throughout. And so, I know we'll get into more of the nitty gritty, but it's a little bit later. But he really had a lot of passion for it. Like I remember him describing to us how the blades of grass underneath his polished shoes and how that felt. And in the moment, like it was just super duper detailed, and just he took a lot of pride in that service.
That
Sorry.
No, you're good. I thought my buddy Nate was gonna say something, so I didn't want to interrupt him. But when the moment you said it would take them 45 minutes to polish, like even their belt buckle, right?
Days, like
Not days, hours.
or hours. I'm sorry, hours. Like I'm
Yes.
talking.
That's probably whenever my buddies that I've had that have gone to be part of that guard, I think they all will use that exact same, like, to let us understand. Well, today's military, they don't polish their boots anymore, but for us back in the old days, they'd be like, yeah, polishing your boots so that you could literally not just see the reflection of things, but you could see the detail in the reflection. And they weren't
Mhm.
allowed, they would always tell us that they weren't allowed to use any special varnishes, any special paints. It had to be directly waxed. Same with their
Yep.
their buttons and everything like that.
Every aspect, every lint, it was
Everything.
incredible what he did.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
And there's I don't know if it was in that collage, but on our website, his cap is different. He had to form it.
yeah, shape it basically.
Shape it.
For the ceremonial guard, it's a different type of hat wear, but he got so good at it, and I think it's because we showed him how to iron, and he really did thank us later on for it.
Yeah.
But he had like a little side hustle with all the other sailors because he did them so perfect. Everybody was paying him to do theirs. He's like, Dad, it takes like 2 cans.
Right.
of starch, 2 cans of starch at least.
So unfortunately, the photo I can pull up of that is the one from Navy Times. So it does have like a little whatchamacallit, but I believe you're talking about this photo right here, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing with I don't know what this is called.
The neckerchief.
The neckerchief, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a normal part of the uniform in the Navy, but part of the ceremonial guard.
Correct. And do y'all want to know some? So this in the part of the ceremonial guard looks sharp. If I was
Yeah.
holding a uniform inspection and one of my sailors walked up to inspection like that, I would have them go change their cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Cover. I call it cap.
Cover.
Cover.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. But yeah, I'd have them go change their cover because that's not authorized for us. You know, it's
Right.
So
Yeah.
just the difference in the whatchamacallit. So how long of a tour did he do there?
A little over a year. A little over. Oh,
It was about a year.
yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was
About a
about a
year.
year.
Year a little bit. Okay.
Yeah,
And-
they sent him from there. Then he went to A school.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're saying, Jolee and Mike, these men and I believe there's women as well too, right, Nate, at the ceremonial guards as well?
I don't know. I would imagine so today.
Yeah. But you're saying they're doing about 6-7 proceedings a day, and those are funeral proceedings, right?
At
Yeah.
Arlington.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Arlington himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His first
His first deployment, if you will, they call them missions in the ceremonial guard. Go ahead.
no, I want you to do it.
Was the USS Fitzgerald, the 7 sailors that died in Japan in that collision.
Yes.
So his first mission was that. So all 7 sailors came back on the plane and into DC, and he's standing tight, and all 7 families are in the hangar. And he called us. Well, I'm going to finish the story. All 7 families are in the hangar, and they're just moms and families screaming and crying, running towards the caskets.
Yeah.
And he's standing, 18 years old, standing there like tight, trying not, to do his honor, right? And it didn't until he got home, he didn't break down. And he called us from that shower. He's like, Mom, Dad, I can't get their cries out of my head. They're running into these caskets and they don't even know who's in them.
He said, I'll never get.
He's like, I'll never get those cries out of my head.
Yeah, and he didn't.
And it really stopped. It was that service, ceremonial guard is they're only allowed to serve in there 2 years because of how heavy it is.
I'd say that's probably too long.
It is.
I only ever did one funeral service in my 22 years on active duty. And it was enough to make me do everything I could to get out of every single one that came up after that. And
Yeah.
I made the mistake. They told they told us before we did it. They're like, don't look at the widow. Don't make eye contact with anybody in the family because you won't be able to keep it together. And I was leaning over and giving the flag to the widow, and I made eye contact, and that was the worst thing I could have done. And I can't imagine doing, a half dozen of them a day for 2 years. That's just that's a lot of weight to carry. And then on top of it, like you guys were describing, I only know of 2 movies where they kind of cover the aspect of them returning home on a plane. The first one is an old one depicting the Vietnam War called Gardens of Stone, and the second one, more recent, with Kevin Bacon, called Taking Chance, where they show the process of accompanying a service member back home and preparing them for the ceremonies and stuff. But so I can't imagine, and especially your first one being 7 all at one time. That's a huge weight. I'm not at all surprised that he called you guys, and grateful that he had you to fall back on.
Yeah.
To shed some of that weight or share some of that load with you guys.
Yeah.
It's-
In our travels and with what we do, we were actually able to meet one of those families.
One of the families that he served for.
That was really hard for us because to explain to the father who we were, Macoy had already passed. Obviously, his son had passed prior to Macoy, and to explain to him who we were was really hard. Yeah. But we got to meet him and hug him. So
Yeah. Go ahead, Doc.
For what it's worth, Nate and I had the privilege of going to Arlington to watch our friend Colonel Sarah Phoenix be put in the ground, and I got a chance to see. We got a chance to see firsthand the lockstep approach they have to use, very mechanical, and you're absolutely right. No eye contact,
Yeah.
and the sound of the cries. We heard those as well,
Mhm.
and with the folks that I work with every day in my practice, the hardest thing to get rid of. The sights are bad enough, the smells, when multi motor vehicle accidents and whatnot.
Mhm.
But the mother's scream is the one that sticks with them the longest.
Mhm.
And it's a hell of a thing to behold. The professionalism and the compartmentalization that it takes to do that job, six,
Yeah.
7, 8 funerals a day. You have to become emotionally numb to it. You have to be
Yeah.
emotionally dead to it, or it's, as we are saying today, it's going to eat you alive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm very glad, yes, that McCoy had you guys to talk to, or somebody, at least for a short period of time, instead of going to some bar and drinking it away.
I mean,
Mhm.
that
That's a
happened,
much
right?
better
And he was
response.
only
Yeah.
18
Yeah,
because that's what, they're told.
Right.
If they're struggling, just go
drink
drink.
it down. Yeah, it's kind of what while he was serving in the ceremonial guard, that was his instruction to go
Yeah.
drink it down. And at 18, so like it was difficult. That was tough, but it's definitely, I'm very proud of him for that service that he had there. It's interesting. So the story, as we're kind of walking through the story of his life there, the next part was like while serving at the ceremonial guard, he was on vacation
Hmm.
and in New York City, riding a bike in Central Park. And should be a great story, but he tries to dodge a pedestrian, flips over the handlebars, and gets a massive TBI. Loses consciousness, really bad head injury. So bad that he had pretty extensive treatment at Walter Reed when he got back for it, and it had actually impacted his ability to serve because he was a rifleman. With the concussion, the TBI, all of that, the volleys were really struggling with him, and he was getting very tired. All the symptoms of a traumatic brain injury. But unfortunately, hard or not, they saw him as a problem sailor, so they shipped him to probably the worst ship in the fleet, the USS Nimitz,
After 18.
after A school. And it was immediately after he got to the Nimitz in Bremerton, Washington, did the toxic command just start wailing on him and sucking his life down all the way through his last service, all the way up until he passed.
Yeah, and we didn't know this until shipmates started coming forward 4 years after
Yeah.
McCoy passed, because at that point, then they were getting out.
And able to talk about it,
Yeah.
not feeling as restricted to talk about it. But
We knew things weren't okay. We knew things were bad. We had a case against the Army and the Navy. So we knew things, but so many things were redacted, heavily redacted. And for those watching that don't know that, basically it's reports that are just blacked out. So we didn't know that it was so bad from day one until shipmates started coming forward 4 years later.
Yeah. So hearing those stories was not easy. Getting some of the details of his treatment and how they treated him while he was there, it's gut wrenching to kind of hear that and then be like, well, how is no one being held accountable for this, and why are we allowing our own to push our own into the grave? Like, what the hell? Like, what are we doing here? like boot camp, I get it. You have to form the soldier or sailor or airman or right. But after, what are we doing?
Yeah. And listen, we're his parents. We told you from day one he was a handful,
Yeah.
right? Like he kept us on our toes. We're not saying that,
Yeah.
but
So
the things that we've been told are
terrible.
disgusting.
Are just terrible. Like all the way,
Oh, yeah.
he goes all the way up to his ship's captain.
Yeah. That's
all
now
the way
an
up to
admiral.
his ship's captain, who got a gold star the same year we did.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Go ahead, Nate.
I see the problems. I see the problem starting even before the Nimitz. Is you know, when he's on the, you know, at the funeral detail at that command, they're you know, there was, whether it was sanctioned or not, I don't know. You know, who knows who in the command said to do this, but they should recognize that there's a problem. If you got, first of all, if you've got underage people drinking, you're going to have problems anyways. But on top of that, you have somebody that's dealing with this, with the secondary stressors and grief from everything he's going through, and the answer is go run towards more depressants.
Right.
I mean, that's just a you know, and it's just a bad mixture right there. So, and then well, whatever damage that does, now he's that person and he's going to the Nimitz. And you know, when you go to a unit, even though none of what happened to him was his fault, right? A TBI, a normal person would say, "Hey, that's a medical issue," and we would understand that. But in the military, no, that's not what happens. The person comes in, and the first thing that command is thinking about is, all right, here's another special case because he's going to have appointments. We're going to have to make sure we have accommodations for how he's being affected and stuff like that. And rightly so, and he deserves it. But you know, we still do a horrible job in the military of treating people the right way. And I hate to hear stuff like that happen.
Yeah. So he gets to the Nimitz, and he has that instruction, right? So he gets to the Nimitz and he starts drinking, like to deal with he's constantly being put on restriction by about 5 individuals, just keep stripping of his pay, stripping of restrictions, like isolating him the entire time, to the point where he tried to drink himself to death. Go ahead, Doc.
One question, if I may.
Yes.
He gets out of boot camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he is immediately selected for a very prestigious, high visibility poster boy for the Navy poster sailor job, right?
Yeah.
And they ship him over to the Nimitz. I wonder if the so-called leadership at the Nimitz, shall we say, held that against him. You know, the golden boy, now you're here with us. Does that kind of thing exist here, or am I going too far?
I wouldn't say it doesn't. I wouldn't say it doesn't.
Yeah.
I can't say I can confirm it, but I wouldn't say it doesn't exist.
I would say that would come more on a maybe of a personal level, Doc, right? Like you might have one chief, right, that is going to hate on any sailor that's had more recognition than they have. So you might have it like in an individualized, but the way I've always seen it when we've had sailors that have come from those prestigious duty stations, you know, serving at places like Camp David, being part of the presidential's teams and whatnot. The way I've always seen it, and amongst my friends too, we'd always bring them in like, that has to be so cool. We want to learn about it. Tell us about it. Let us know this. And what's not strange is a lot of them had the same story where it's, yeah, on the outside it looks fun, but it's arduous duty. You're under a microscope 24/7, and if your farts come out wrong, someone's gonna tell you about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what it sounds like, maybe what might have happened was we had a young sailor that got put into this position where now you're seeing families mourn, you know, 5, 6, 7 times a day. You know, obviously not 7 days a week, but let's say 5 out of the 7 days you're doing this, right? So you're seeing 25 families a week roughly having to mourn the loss. And in this generation, it wasn't World War II vets, you know, that are dying away quicker. It's the ones on active duty because we're still engaged in a conflict, right? So the service that you're part of, now you're seeing the men and women that are only a couple years older than you.
Yeah.
And then he had this traumatic brain injury, started affecting his mental health, went to go get help. The command there was like, well, look, we'll get you the help, but because of this, you're no longer sufficient. You're no longer good enough to work here, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to
exactly.
cut you. We're gonna have to execute. We call them expedition of orders. We're gonna have to expedite orders for you to go to your next duty station, which was A school, and then to the Nimitz. Somewhere
Yeah.
along the way, because this is what happens, somebody picks up the phone and says, "Hey, you got this kid coming in." Don't I can almost tell you how the conversation went. Man, when he first got here, rock star. I don't know what happened. A year later, now like he's missing this, he's missing that. He's late for work. His uniform looks like shit. We try to get through to him, Bill, but just can't get through him. Hopefully, you guys can have a better chance at making something out of him. All right, Bob. Thanks for the heads up. Not a problem, Bill. Then they hang up the phone. Right now, this young sailor's walking in, and already has that stigma, right? Instead of, how much better would a phone call been if, like, hey, look, we had to let Hicks terminate these orders earlier to prevent his mental health getting worse. We went and reached out to got him help, but where he's at, he really needs somewhere where there's a lot more leadership that can help him get back on track, because we know he's a great sailor. This is just an arduous duty station, and plus he's had this TBI that's made his healing even a little bit more difficult.
That's what should have happened.
Should have, right?
Like he had pretty extensive treatment at Walter Reed about that TBI. So it wasn't like it wasn't documented. It was, they knew. But anyway, so he goes there and he tries to drink himself because these guys are just riding him constantly.
And they told him he doesn't have PTSD, that he didn't have PTSD because he had never been deployed.
We happened to find out where he was when he tried to drink himself to death. I had his location, I had him, and then we found him. We called the hospital and they ripped him out of the hospital, and then said they were going to put him in the SARS program, but put him in the SARS program, then ripped him out of the SARS program, then put him in the SARS program, then ripped him out of the SARS program, and would never let him get consistent help. Not to mention, they denied his multiple requests for mental health and behavioral health support, all the way up into the last day before they put him in the brig. His captain told him, Macoy told his captain, says, if you put me in the brig, I'm going to kill myself. He's like, I've told you multiple times that I need help, and you guys are not hearing me. I'm not making this up. And his captain said, I'm calling your bluff. If you would have done it, you would have done it already, which means he was intentionally trying to drive him to kill himself.
And we don't know this from McCoy, because after that, we only had one conversation with McCoy, and I'll go there in a second because it was the last conversation we had with McCoy. But we know these from sailors. We know this from sailors that were in that room, and the sailors that have come forward since losing McCoy. That's how we know what his captain said, because we were actually in Washington State when it happened. So his captain blessed us with his presence, if you will, and sat next to us at our hotel room or in our whatever at the hotel, and told us that he thought the brig was the safest place for him. The reason he was in the brig is because McCoy had leave, and he was supposed to spend a week and a half with us. We went out there for work. We were not far.
Yeah, we were in, oh my gosh.
Tacoma?
Tacoma. Yeah, we were at Tacoma. And so we were very far from there. My
So-
company that I was working for sent us out there to visit so we could do the work, but then also visit with Macoy.
Yeah.
And then
And so he was supposed to stay with us. I think it was a week and a half we were supposed to stay. And the night before we flew out, they ripped him of his leave and put him in the brig. And he called us, and the three of us, Michael, myself, and our daughter Sienna, were at a Bible study, and my phone was upside down and I missed the call. Thank God he called him. So he called him. It was a Hawaii number. And the three of us went into the bathroom at the Bible study. We were at someone's house. And he just said, I'm going to the brig. And I don't even remember our conversation.
all we did was basically speak life into him. Like, Macoy, listen, man, keep your head down. 25 days in the brig is nothing. You'll be out. I'll get you a job when you come back. Don't worry about it.
We fly out tomorrow,
We fly
so
out
we'll
tomorrow,
be there.
so
We'll
we'll
see
be
you.
there.
We'll come to you.
So he knew we were there, but he could, but just to speak life into him, to say, hey, this is short term. There's more future coming, and everything you think you should say to someone that's going through something like that.
So we flew out. That was Thursday. We flew
Yeah.
out Friday morning. And apparently it doesn't snow in Seattle. Well, we brought 12 inches of snow.
Yep. Like, you want
So
to talk about perfect storm, like.
Yeah, so everything shut down, and we tried to no avail to get in touch with him. We tried, I'm sorry. So the reason the Army's involved is because he was in the Navy and brought to an Army brig, because there's no brig in Bremerton for the Navy.
Because it's a joint consolidation brig there, from my understanding.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
JBLM.
Yep. Which is actually, it has since been knocked down because it was in such terrible shape. The brig. So so we fly out Friday morning. As soon as we land and get in our rental car, I'm making phone calls. And I was leaving messages and calling. I didn't care what department. I called every line on base on that Army base. And no one called in all weekend. I called and called and called. And Monday, I started first thing Monday morning, and I got I named her Captain K because her name was really long and I don't remember what it was. So I just named her Captain K. And I thought that we were getting somewhere with her. But what we know now is that he was already gone. She didn't know that.
Okay.
At first thing in the morning, she didn't know that. But by the last call with her, probably around 3 or 4, I knew something was wrong. But I thought maybe she had just had a bad day. And she was telling me, I think she told me that I would have to try back tomorrow. And I was so upset because she was so helpful through the day when I was trying to talk to her. But now I know that she knew by then.
Right.
And she was not allowed to tell me, right? So like I have no hate or anger or anything towards her. I kind of wish I knew her last name. And didn't just call her Captain K because we laughed about Captain K. I said, I'm just going to call you Captain K. Is that okay? I wish that I could know who she was and just send her some love.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure on her end, there's some hurt and hardness there for her. Go ahead. Take over.
Well, I'll give y'all both a little second to catch y'all's breath here. First and foremost, Jolee and Mike, I just want to thank you both for allowing us the privilege to come into your world, and to get to meet Macoy through the eyes of his parents. When I first found out about Macoy, because of my own work with mental health, I was absolutely upset. And then when the file leaked out, because like you said, Macoy didn't tell you what his captain told him, but when the actual no BS file got leaked out. Apologize about my little one in the background here. But when the file leaked out and it showed that his commanding officer told him, no, I don't think that you will do it. I'm calling your bluff. I would say I was flabbergasted, dumbfounded. My jaw hit the deck because, like, how in the world could a commanding officer tell a junior sailor this? But the sad truth is it didn't, because that wasn't the first time I've known senior leaderships tell junior personnel that.
Yeah.
And it is so sad. It's such a shame, because now we have such a young, talented young man that is no longer here with us today, because we put someone in a position of leadership that didn't have the maturity to truly lead another human being, you know.
Yeah.
And so my heart goes out to you all. I just wanted to take a moment and just thank you again for allowing this intimacy with you all tonight. So thank you for that.
Thank you as well. Thank
Yeah. May I ask, because I might have missed it a little bit, what was the CO actual charging Macoy with for him to put him in the brig, or was he just putting him in the brig thinking he was keeping him safe?
Yeah. Yes. What happened? We have is so Macoy had to leave, and there's 5 other individuals, including the ship's captain, that were just riding him. So just before he had put in for leave and got approved, and so for whatever reason, most likely toxic, they're like, oh well, let's screw with him some more. His family's coming. Let's just take his leave. So they stripped him of his leave, and that leave led to a psychotic break or a mental breakdown, or whatever you want to call about it.
Taking his leave.
Flipping, and then flipping out, and that they call insubordination or whatever they wanted to call it. And they put him in for 25 days. Now, multiple people out there have stupid comments that have to say, oh, that you don't get put in the brig for that. Well,
I mean, Macoy told us that, Mom, you have to really do something. You have to, like, basically murder someone to be put in the brig. I mean, he told me that, and that's not true.
I worked at a brig. Some of the stuff that I saw in there, I was like, shit, I could be in here just as easily as you guys.
Yeah.
So I put people in the brig too.
Yeah.
But you know, the travesty here, and hopefully by you guys being so open, talking to the world about this, is that even if it doesn't change or affect that CO, I'm hoping that other people that are younger, that are learning to become leaders, will listen to this. You cannot treat a mental health issue, even if it's a temporary mental health issue, you know, a temporary break because you lose it, right? You cannot treat that as a discipline problem. And the fact that CO, on one hand, says he's going to call his bluff, so I'm going to stick you in the brig, but then turns to his other face and sits down with the both of you and says, I thought that was the safest place for him. Well, those two cannot be true at the same time. One of them is a lie, right? And why would you treat a mental health issue with corrections? That's completely wrong. The whole purpose of putting somebody into inpatient mental health is to protect them from themselves and others.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that's been some type of a change, at least within Bremerton, if not within, you know, across the Navy and DoD as a whole. And I agree with you that Captain K really isn't the one to blame. It's unfortunate she got stuck in that position.
And so we have 2 sides of the coin here, because you had the Army side. The Army side made its fair share of mistakes. They didn't provide what they should have provided, which is a psych eval when he got there. All of his paperwork screamed red flag, 24-hour watch. They ignored it. They denied his call to his mom, which may have impacted his decision-making. The cameras in his cell were broken. So there's a couple crazy thoughts about that, but and then the building's demolished, so that it's all gone, right? So The Army messed up. And then when they
Um,
found him, I'm
yeah.
sorry, go ahead, Doc.
Just to throw something in here conceptually for 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 understanding, when they say an evaluation, okay, that means a structured interview, a formula is followed, okay? A specific recipe is followed here. You see where I'm going with this? You smell the sarcasm and the anger? According to this evaluation, this formula, this cookbook thing, one size fits all, and this is the box we are going to put you in. And I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, and anybody who's listening today or down the road, it ain't necessarily so. Just
Yeah.
because you dot the I's, cross the T's, follow the formula, and finish the questionnaire does not at all mean you've done your goddamn job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, one thing
So-
that Mike was saying about the whole, even after, if you already had those red flags and you went in there and was supposed to have a suicide watch, unless things have changed dramatically, and they could have absolutely. It's been probably 15 years since I worked at the brig. We had a guard. What happens is you put a guard and you sit that guard right in front of that jail cell, and their duty right now, they rotate like every hour, 30 minutes, and their duty is to
Supposed
write
to be
down.
every 30 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're supposed to write down. Even let's say McCoy's laying in bed on his left hand side, right? Oh, now McCoy rolled over on his back at 12:13, right? Oh, now he rolled over on his right side. Like that's how much in depth we're supposed to record when we have someone on those watches.
So
I
what
could-
we're told is that because of the storm, they were short-staffed.
Yeah, that's an inadequate excuse because
Yeah.
when I was stationed at Quantico here, we had it was a Marine Corps brig, but it was also a federal prison, so we had federal prisoners there, and as well as high-ranking officers that were in the brig. And at least at Quantico, if someone was on suicide watch, when I would have to do my walkthroughs, they would let me know because they would go and bring a blanket to those who were on suicide watch, because on suicide watch, they were nude. They had nothing in their cell at all. There was no chance that they could harm themselves. And so they would give them a blanket just for me to do my walkthrough. And then as soon as I went past, they lose their blanket. And so, there's a lot, it sounds to me like there were a lot of things not done properly.
So McCoy was not naked. McCoy had he was fully clothed and had a belt.
That was issued by the brig.
Right, that's what I read,
Wow.
and that's how he.
Yeah.
And then they asked us if we wanted it after.
Yeah.
Get
So
the
he
fuck
hung
out!
up-
I'm sorry for my language. No, they did not.
They called us
to ask
specifically
us
to ask us if we wanted the belt. Nothing else.
Wow.
Do you want the belt? And I was like, what the fuck? Excuse me. No, we don't want the belt. And as a matter of fact, I remember where I was standing when I got the phone call. We were still at our old house. So, I mean, it was within 3 months of losing him. So, because we had moved, so we lost him in February. We moved to our new house in Memorial Weekend. We had just lost him, and they had called and asked us if we wanted NCIS.
Wow.
Now,
Called and asked if we wanted the belt. So no, he was not naked, and no, there is a rumor out there that he used sheets.
and that's not true.
That's not true. It was a belt that was given to him, and I know it was 30 minutes that they were supposed to, on top of the 24. He should have been under 24 watch, but
the Rovers didn't do their jobs either.
So they were supposed to do their walkthrough every 30 minutes and did not. So McCoy hung there from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m.
And then when they found him, they didn't relieve strain pressure, relieve the strain, and then call for help while holding him.
They left
him
him there.
hanging there. They left. And then they came back cut him down, and did CPR on a bed. On his
Yeah, I
bed.
read that on the instead of moving him onto the deck. I read that it was on the bed.
And the cameras were broken.
Wow.
So there's just so many things that McCoy should still be here that we were like, this is nuts. How do
Or-
we get?
Or if anything,
Multiple levels of failure.
if we couldn't take away the big factor of losing McCoy, right? Where at least there should have been so many factors that other service members should have treated that little brother with some dignity and respect, right?
They did not.
And they didn't. Absolutely.
His ship was told not to talk about him.
Yeah. The command said they put on a gag order. Don't talk about McCoy. Don't post about McCoy.
Do not reach out to the
to
family.
the entire ship. They didn't even do a service for him.
I can't even begin. Well, we were
Are you
told at some point
serious?
that they did.
They didn't do a service for him.
We-
Someone else, one shipmate, had to put together a service at an off-base location for
Yeah.
individuals. They didn't do anything.
We felt so alone and confused and so many things. They flew him in at like 10:30 at night in February.
We had to fight for 2 weeks to get him. You have no idea. We had to fight to see him.
While we were,
Yeah.
we
While
said we weren't going to leave
still
Washington.
there. We weren't leaving Washington without him, and we had to fight just to get him, to put him in a uniform at a place in Tacoma so that
Yeah.
we could see him before we left, because we weren't leaving without him. The ridiculousness that we've got to go through with the Navy is just, and
Wow.
with this whole issue has been just crazy.
Yeah.
And we don't walk through this often anymore. I mean,
No.
we're 6 years in, right?
Mhm.
This is the first time in a long time that we're walking.
But we're talking about it again, like in
Yeah.
this detail. So,
Well, I thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. I feel that we have failed him. We spend our lives. We haven't talked about what we do yet, but we spend our lives saving everyone else.
That's
Literally.
not a failure.
Thank you. Literally, our mission is to save, for our organization, is to save military lives.
Yeah.
But I feel like we did not. So his captain is now an admiral,
Yes.
and the other 5 individuals are still just living life. And I don't follow them. I don't know if Mike does. I don't know where they are, but I know they're still here. And I just feel like he lost his fight, and we've lost the fight for him. We've walked the halls of Congress in DC. We have spoke to many congressmen and women here locally in New York. We have screamed, and like I said, we had a case with both the Army and the Navy, and it was denied when there wasn't even a denial process. And then we appealed. We were told to appeal it, and we appealed it, and there wasn't even an appeals process, and that was denied. None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
I just feel like we've
go ahead.
not gotten justice for him, and that's what I mean by us
He wants to.
failing. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. No. I didn't want Jolee to lose her train of thought. She was good. What I wanted to ask, when you were talking about you've walked, the halls of Congress, you've spoken to numerous people. Don't want to put words in your mouth, but does it kind of seem like in your face, everyone's all about supporting you and everything, but as soon as you leave that office, it's all crickets, and it's like, where the hell is all this support? You said,
and as a matter of fact, we didn't walk those halls alone. When you mentioned Save Our Service Members SOS earlier, we were in DC with them, and I mean 12 families.
12 other families.
We were the only suicide at the time. I don't know if there's others within SOS now, but medical malpractice. All 12 families. Everyone's story is terrible. And yes, while we were there, they were like, "We got you. We'll help. Let us know what you need."
Mhm.
Blah blah blah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all those I call them empty business cards. I
Yeah,
just get it. I
yeah.
just get it. Now what I do is I just get it from them, and as soon as I see the first trash can, I throw them in there because
Yeah.
they're worthless.
They're
I'm
worthless.
so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
Mike and Jolie, could you if it's not too hard, I know
Yeah.
we've been speaking a little about McCoy, about the hardships y'all had, even seeing his body, um, before leaving Tacoma and all that. Could you walk us through what it was like finally getting because you said, Captain Z didn't tell you anything, even though you knew something was up. Who was it that finally gave you that phone call or visited you guys, or how did you finally get that news? And not to say,
Oh.
lack of a better term, I know your world was flipped upside down in every which way, and as much or as little, I don't want to overstep my boundaries here, but
No.
Do you want
I
to
mean, here we are, raw,
Yeah.
and right, we're in it already, so no boundaries to be crossed. We received a phone call.
because of the snow, they couldn't. They supposedly they closed the bridge that was between Bremerton and or JBLM and where we were, whatever.
I don't know.
Some
They said
bridge
they
was
couldn't
closed.
get to us.
Yeah, so we got a phone call at 6:30. Yeah, it was about 6 o'clock at night, 6:30, something like that,
There,
in Washington.
9 o'clock here.
And they call us and they're like, Mr. and Mrs. Hicks, are you in Washington? We're like, yeah, you know that. We're here to visit our son. We're here, and then they said, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your son was found dead. And I still can't find the human words to put into a description that is accurately depicts what that moment was like.
Like, not real.
There, it's like a light went off, like some like shattered, broke. My brain couldn't.
Our brains definitely broke.
I couldn't even comprehend it. I'm like, what did you just say? Like, and then we were just leveled.
There's no way to explain it.
I can't even put it into words.
Yeah.
I can't even describe. The closest thing that I've ever heard to like a description about it was a phrase or a verse or something in the Bible that's about like groaning and like moaning and groaning. Like that is.
Yeah,
closest
I know what you're trying to describe because the audience doesn't know this, but you guys we tried to get you on 3 years ago to be our guests. And 2 months after that happened, I lost my daughter to suicide. And the way I describe it to people was in that moment, sounds came out of me that I had never heard before in my life, and I didn't know a human being could make.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember what it sounded like. I just remembered that it was inhuman, and it's hard to explain to people because it's a pain that there's no other kind of pain like it. There's no way to explain it. I'm sorry to hear you guys went through that, but yeah, you're right. There's no way to describe it.
Yeah.
Let me just throw an idea in here. Again, this is just a way of thinking about it. There is the trauma and violation of losing your son. And then every time, that's a great phrase, Luis, an empty business card. Somebody flicks you an empty business card, a promise not fulfilled, etc., etc. Every time that happens, it's like being violated all over again.
Yeah.
How's that? That kind of hit the nail on the head right there.
To a degree, yeah.
We have pulled so far back because of all of those things you just said. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what on God's green earth the three of us can do for you. If there is anything we can do other than listen, we're pretty good at listening to people and making them feel safe and warm and welcome, etc. What can we do for you?
Let people know that we're here. That we have a service that's been helping save service members and military family members as well. I've got to update our numbers, but we've put over 550 people through therapy, covering thousands of sessions, and talking to thousands of service members and people across the country just to reach service members where they are, and let them know that, hey, you could cut through the red tape, and get the help you need, and nobody has to know. Nobody has to be like any of that. Like, active duty service members struggle asking for help. They don't trust the behavioral health people, and I'm no offense, Doc Lewis, but they don't trust them, and because it's just maybe their attitudes, or they've been burned to be the way that they're at, and they just don't trust them. Or
well, so many things. They'll lose their weapons. They'll lose their job.
A lot of things. The stigma and the reality of the impacting of their career is there as well. That's not just a stigma. That's a reality.
Correct.
It's real. And that's why we started this, to allow like the Macoys to be able to say, I need help. I mean, how many active we take care of? A lot.
I mean,
yeah, I can't wait for us to get into what your actual foundation is. But I wanted to bring Macoy back to this earth with us on this conversation. More than anything, I wanted you guys to bring him alive to us, so that we know who is this little brother that we're missing today. And I speak that way. I speak about them being my little brother and sister, because Mike, you're absolutely right. And I take no offense when you say, we don't trust the military healthcare system, especially the mental health care. And I was involved in it for 22 years. And even in those 22 years, in July 8th of 2018, so not too before your son, but I attempted my own suicide on active duty, which got me on my advocacy for mental health and all the shortcomings that I saw even within my own treatment, right? And I'm in the healthcare profession myself, you know what I mean? And so maybe that's also why I can maybe ask certain questions that sometimes, that I kind of see it all falls across the board of every branch of the service, where there is that big stigma, right? And losing clearances, losing respect, losing respect of your leadership, right? Because you don't want to be the wimp, you don't want to be the cat, right? The other word for cat.
How many enlisted avoid the building at all costs? They don't want to even be seen walking in the building.
100%, right? So, but no, thank you for bringing Macoy back to life for us. But before we get into your organization, because I want to really give that its highlight as well too, the good that has come in such a major tragedy, right? You said him and his sister grew up 2 years apart roughly.
Correct.
How is she? You don't need to give us her life story, but how is she still dealing with all of this? I can't imagine,
It's
so since we went back to day one, let's go back to her day one.
Okay.
So Michael and I were in Washington State, and she was here in New York. And we had to call her.
So we had to coordinate people, minutes after being told this shattering news. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Sienna's in New York."
Yeah.
Who's going to go to Sienna? She can't hear this news by herself.
And before news spread, we had to get to her. So we called friends of ours, which also are Macoy's, follow me here, Macoy's best friend's parents. We called them. Now, by this point, it was 10:30 here in New York. Because we had to call my mom and stepdad, which live an hour and a half away. So we called them first to get them on the road. And then we called our friends to go to Sienna so that we could tell Sienna. And they stayed with her until my parents got there. But they rang the doorbell at 10:30 at night. And we were on the phone and we could hear her say who died. And she was kidding. She's like, what are you guys doing here? So they were her youth group leaders. So, you know, we did life with them, and but you don't show up at 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
So she let them in, and we told her, and she just, we now know her side of, because she's written poems. I guess she just fell to the floor when we told her. And then she spent that week before we could get back to New York down in Newburgh at my mother's, which she was very close to, my mom, but all she needed was us at that time. She was in college. She was in her second semester.
Yeah.
And we got back, and we brought her to college to stop her classes. What's the word?
Oh, to drop.
To drop her classes. Yeah. She didn't want to do that. And I was like, that's not an option right now. And Mike knew that we all needed help. So he got us into therapy right away, whether it was good or bad, or we did a
we had a couple different things that were good, some were bad. You know, it's like everything, right? Like you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I hate that phrase. I wish someone would come up with something else.
Yeah, what a terrible saying.
But
God.
like you might find a great one, you might find a not so great one. Like you have to try.
Well, and not
shop
just
around
that.
a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't even that, but we went to a group therapy, grief share or something like that. But
we just weren't ready for it.
We weren't ready for it. It was different deaths. You know, it was older. It was just different deaths. You know, our death is an out of order death,
and suicide complicates it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's a little bit of a difference of children that are in their 50s and 60s grieving the loss of their 90-year-old parent, right?
Right.
Vice a young mid-30s couple having to grieve the life of a young 19, 20-year-old young healthy man. You know, like I said, it's out of order. It's not natural.
It's out of order. And she was 18. She was 18 when she lost her big brother. And man,
she struggled. She struggled a lot.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of work. Go ahead, Doug.
For what it's worth, I've discussed this with Nate and others who have had to put a child in the ground. And Louise hit the beginning of it right on the head. When we lose our parents,
because we're supposed to.
Words. Yeah, it's hard to find the words, but it can be done. However, when a parent puts a child in the ground, there are no words in any dictionary from any of the four corners of the earth that I'm aware of that can adequately describe that experience. No words whatsoever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Because it's not supposed to be.
Yeah. And then, you know, and suicide complicates the grief process too. Like, you know, how does an individual get over that word get over, which never will happen. But like, how does someone, you know, get over the fact that someone made their child feel so low that like they couldn't be here anymore? Like, how do you reconcile that? I don't know. I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to ask a little bit earlier, Mike, but now that you kind of bring this up, man, like Jolie, you said that, you know, when the CO sat down next to you guys, y'all already knew Michael took his life, right?
Oh,
McCoy.
McCoy. I mean, McCoy took his life. I'm so sorry about that.
Don't worry, my
okay.
grandmother did it all the time.
Yeah.
I do it with my boys all the time too. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And Michael,
Yeah.
how did you not just punch the shit out of that dude?
Well, we
Because
didn't-
I think it was just 2 days.
It was 2 days after.
And we were still so numb.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my brother and sister flew out to Washington State, and we had told them not to. So Michael and I are high school sweethearts. We had McCoy at 18 and 19. We moved from New York to Ohio with a 9-month-old for Michael to go to school.
Mhm.
And because, you know, we were not going to fail. We needed to leave the area and start new and start fresh. And so we were so used to doing everything on our own. And then by the time McCoy passed, just the 4 of us, right? Sienna was 18, McCoy was 20. It was basically just the 4 of us. And we were always so used to just doing. Not that we never had help. I'm not saying that, but we told my brother and sister, don't fly out, don't come out. Thank God they didn't.
Thank God
listen.
they did.
They came out and they were in that room. It was the conference room of the hotel that we were staying at. How did I not punch him? Because I was numb.
Yeah.
And because I didn't know.
We had no
we
idea.
didn't know. We had not even seen the not the investigator, but the detective.
Oh, the Army CID person.
Okay. Yeah.
We criminal. It's like the NCIS for Army.
For Army, yeah.
Right.
So I don't think we had even seen him yet. And even when, again, I mean, it's taken years for us to get details of what we have. So would I sit next to him now?
Mm-mm. He's in NORAD in Colorado.
Yes, I know.
I am a very kind, loving person. I don't know that I could be in the same room as that man now.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. And I don't think anyone faults you for that at all whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm probably overly forgiving. I could not. I could not. He also said to us, look at
look at the pool I'm working with.
in other words, like the young kids that
Right.
like
Talking about the generation. Like, look at the pool I'm working with.
yeah,
That's
but
what
again,
this
we
is.
were so numb. There is a numbness that it's unexplainable.
Yeah.
It's and I don't want you guys to understand it because in order to understand it, you would have to have lost a child, and it's just a terrible. I mean, literally, our brains break. Would you agree? Do you agree with that? As a dad that has lost.
Yeah, I even the people that I dislike the most in my life, I wouldn't ever want that to happen to them because
Right.
it breaks you in a way that you never know you could be broken.
Yeah.
And it comes. People don't realize it comes back every day, right? Like you hear a song and you're like, oh, she would have liked this.
Yes.
And the reminders are just always there. I still say I have 5 daughters.
Yeah, because you
And,
do.
you don't.
Yeah.
You never subtract them.
No.
And I feel for you too for your daughter because I watched how the enemy used that to attack some of my other children.
Yes.
And their mental health got worse.
Yes.
And I was I didn't make a face or anything, but when I heard you guys talking about being in Bible studies, and I was like, yes, they're believers. I'm like, so I know you guys have got something stronger to stand on,
Yeah.
but it's hard to explain to people. It still doesn't make it easy, you know?
Oh,
I remember that numbness. I found out on a Saturday.
yeah.
I still went to church on Sunday, and I had no business being there,
You're
you
right.
know, but I didn't know what else to do.
It's like
Right.
auto.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
you're the Walking Dead for quite a while.
Yeah. Yes, and siblings,
And they're often forgotten.
so often forgotten, and I don't mean to keep changing the subject. Thank you for asking about Sienna, and I want to respect her. What I can say is her going through life and good things are happening in her life now, and but it's always bittersweet because she doesn't have him to share. You know, she can call everyone in the world, she can tell everyone, but the one person that she wants to tell is not here.
Suggestion, if I may, if you choose to come back on with us, for God's sakes, bring her along.
Yeah.
Participate.
Yeah, she has, so probably about 2 years ago, she stepped away from Hicks Strong for herself. She finished college. She ended up going back to college, finished college, worked for a company for a while.
She didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
It wasn't good for her mental health.
Right.
And also it was kind of like a toxic environment too. So it wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, corporate, right? So she moved to Puerto Rico and lived on a 7-mile island for a year. She did not live on Main Island. She lived on a 7-mile island for about a year, and she is now engaged. They have, and they're doing well. Yeah.
And she also co-hosts or co-leads a sibling support group as well, a sibling loss support group.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But she has stepped away. She may be stepping more into Hicks Strong in the near future. We're just not sure. We need to make sure that she's okay. She may step into our art program.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are doing what I think we're supposed to do, that you're taking what the enemy meant for evil and you're turning it into good. You know, he did something and thought that he was going to come out ahead on it, and you guys are flipping it around and helping far more people. And, you know, something that only recently somebody gave me advice, and this is kind of maybe more from Michael, but as a dad, you know, I kept trying to put on this face of, no, we keep doing the things we do. We're not going to let it break us or whatever. And one of the guys in my small group said, do you ever share how it affects you still, though, with your daughter? With my youngest daughter, who still lives with me, she's 19. I was like, man, I was like, you know what? I never even thought of that. And so that same evening, I picked her up from work, and it's been almost 2 years now. And I told her right away, I said, you know, I need you to know that because not just because I don't show it and I'm not crying all the time, I want you to know that I do cry every day still. And I think about her every single day still. And even before I got that sentence out of my mouth, I looked over at her and she was bawling, and she needed to hear it from me, and I didn't know it. And I didn't realize that I was withholding my pain from her. And she needed to know that I was hurting too, so she would know that she was okay, that she was still hurting. And she recently bought a car and got her first personalized plate, and it surprised me to no end that it just says for Mona, you know. And as parents, we sometimes get so focused on shielding our children from the world that we forget to let them know that we are we succumb to it as well, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd like to encourage you guys that I'm sure somebody smarter and more adept at this has probably told you, but just in case they haven't, you know, you guys are living out Romans 8:28, right? You're using this for good. And remind you guys too that, you know, Jesus said that he will lose nobody that the Father has given him. Right? He didn't make exceptions for that. And there's going to be a day that you guys, along with your son, are going to see all the people you've affected and helped, and you'll get to know one day. And so I'd encourage you guys to keep doing what you're doing, because you're helping people more than you can know in this life.
Thank you. Thank you. You have no idea. Thank you.
Well, we've been talking so much about what it is that y'all are doing. We've had a few. It's a great segue, right? A great segue. You know, I tried to put up as many of the comments that have come up in our chat about thanking you all for speaking on y'all story and everything that y'all doing. But yeah, why don't we go on and actually pull up?
We've been talking in code.
Yeah, right. So hicksstrong.org, named after Jolee and Mike Hicks, their late son, who unfortunately came to a point of his life where the pain just kind of took over a little bit too much on that day, and the way we kind of say is a permanent decision was made for a temporary a problem. And unfortunately, it didn't seem like his command had any support for that young sailor, as we know a lot of commands that way, unfortunately, in the military. But yeah, Jolee and Mike, talk to us a little bit about Hicks Strong, the therapy that you guys have, the request, donate, and all that, please. And I'll, as y'all are talking through it, I'll try to keep up and click on the different areas that y'all speaking.
Yeah, not a problem, not a problem. So you know, after we lost Macoy, which was we knew we wanted to do something, but didn't want to just. And this is not anything about against advocacy, because advocacy is needed, but we wanted to have more of an action role. How do we get the people the help that they need when they need it? And so, and I mean, Hicks Strong, literally, we stood it up 5 months. 5 months after we lost Macoy. August 5th will be actually 6 years that will be in operation as a nonprofit. But what we wanted to do is cut through the red tape, shorten the gap between active duty service members and getting connected with a therapist, and also help in this much needed arena of helping to reduce the number of veteran suicides that we're having in this country every day as well. And so we were like, okay, well, how do we do this? So, and a couple months before the nonprofit stood up, we went on a trip to Florida. We didn't tell anybody. 3 of us went to visit a friend. She happens to be our director of mental health now, Cindy Tucci, and she's amazing, an amazing therapist. And so we went down there, and that's kind of how we came up with the idea of like getting connected with therapists. How do we make this work? And then we come back home a couple months later, we got the nonprofit up, and we literally luckily I have a technology background, and I got our first website built and stood up, and we had 5 people request help that year.
From August
to December. So the same year we lost, we had provided care for 5 individuals and helped them. And then it just grew from there. So every year from there, the number of people requesting help just kept growing and growing. Now, in the early stages of our work, we were like, unlimited help.
Yeah,
we're going to cover everything. And then we realized that's not like sustainable unless we were like a billionaire. So we're like, all right, we got to shift this up. So we shifted it around, and now what we do is we cover 8 therapy sessions for each individual, which is about 4 months every 2 weeks, right? Which we feel is an adequate amount of time to at least build a rapport with a therapist and kind of gain some trust, or see if 3-4 weeks in, is this a good fit or not? Do I need a switch, right? And so what we do is we connect. They find us. We get them connected. We cover their care. We do it in a way now that it's streamlined. And if someone that comes to us needing help, but we don't have funds, which is really our biggest problem, is the funds to do the work. The mechanism that we built is fully operational and can sustain capacity, right? People coming in, but we need funds to kind of cover that. So when they come in, if there's funds not available, they can go into that waiting queue. And usually I don't like to let that sit more than 2 weeks, because when someone asks for help, they need to get help right away. And so it's usually a lot less than that. But we're able to process and help individuals all over the country. I think about 48 out of the 50 states we've helped individuals
Wow.
get connected. A couple active duty service members that are deployed have been receiving care as well.
A lot
have active duty deployed have received care through our program. And so we just basically cut through that red tape. Service member says they need help. They show proof that they're a service member. They get connected with a qualified, compassionate therapist that has them in mind and in their focus first. And then after those 8 weeks, if they want to continue with that therapist to maintain that relationship, they can continue at a self-pay rate, a discounted rate of $75 a session, which is cheaper than anywhere in the country. So,
Wow, yeah.
And that's a testament to the amazing work that our therapists are doing, because they're not doing it to get rich. They're doing it to save lives. And they have to have that mentality, and if they want to be a part of our team.
That's great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And then now I'll let Jolee take this on, because this is her baby child here. So the other part of our program, I'll let Jolee describe and tell you about, which you'll be able to find. Where did I put it on that site?
So after Macoy passed, we asked one of his shipmates, what is something every sailor wants or needs? And their response was a hug. So we created hug mugs.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So
thank you.
That picture actually is hug mugs that we sent to local deployed
in
Jordan this past fall. So they're a 20-ounce mug. They're all hand painted differently. They're sponsored and painted by community members, and we give them to service members to let them know that they're loved, they matter, and be here tomorrow. Our favorite part is that a full pint. Hold on. I don't know if you can see because I can't see myself, but a full pint of ice cream fits right in it.
Nice.
Yeah. So
some days you just need to go ham on a pint of ice cream.
Yeah. I have been saying this for 6 years that our favorite part is the pint of ice cream, and I have to be honest, I sat down and tried it once. And I think I had like 3 or 4 spoonfuls, and I was like, I can't do that anymore. But it's still fun that the whole pint is in it.
Yep.
I'll tell you, and you've probably gotten feedback about this, but when I was in Desert Storm, this was back in the day when you could send mail to any service member, and I have every single letter and every single thing anybody ever sent me.
That's incredible.
And so I can imagine these people getting these mugs from people that they don't know, right? Yeah. And having a message, knowing that they cared enough. That's something that they're going to keep no matter how long. That's not showing up with the Goodwill. That's going to either be in their cupboard or on the shelf, in their home office. That's an awesome thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, so then
I love it.
So that's the other thing that we did. Now that we've done over 5,000 of those hug mugs all over the country, from here to California to Florida, all the way down the East Coast. We've done several of these events.
And we call them paint and saves. So you know, what we spoke about earlier, that Macoy was 18 years old and told to drink his struggles away. We struggled with that.
Yeah.
So we did not want to call these paint and sips.
Yeah, that's a good tab.
Did you say that's a good tab?
Mm-hmm.
As you scroll through our website, he's like, "Oh, I did that work. That's good work. That's good work."
I hear him. That's why I stopped at it.
So we call them paint and saves.
Yeah, and they're a fundraising mechanism for us to bring the funds in to help cover the cost of those therapy sessions that we're covering on every week.
Yeah.
Right now we have 14 people in care right now, and five or six of those are right here in New York. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Now, what was it that I saw that said vet bod?
Oh yeah. So we're having a car wash fundraiser alongside with 22 Until None, another organization that helps veterans, first responders get connected with resources. So we're doing a vet bod car wash. It's going to be a lot of vets, maybe in silkies, and it's going to be washing cars, raising funds. It's going to be a good time.
So there's a T-shirt out there. I don't know if you're aware of it, and it says vet bod, and then it says like dad bod, but with more joint pain.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I could picture these old vets out there washing cars. I don't know if it's scary or if that's encouraging.
A little bit of both, I think.
Are you local to us?
No, I'm down here in Stafford, Virginia.
Okay.
Well, if you're local, come on by.
I know. I was going to tell you to get some silkies and that T-shirt on. And
Oh no. No,
You want to attract customers, not scare them away.
Yeah. And then so we have that, and then we have a memorial ride coming up actually before that on the 17th of August for Matthew King. His road name is Trax. He's a member or president of Punishers LEMC Albany. Is it Albany? I'm sorry, Mountain Crew. That's it. Mountain Crew. I keep getting that mistake.
He died by suicide in December.
Yes.
And this ride is actually on his birthday.
Yep. So there's four groups, four Punisher groups that are helping coordinate this event in memory of Matt. And so we're hoping that we get a really big turnout and have people come out and support it.
Yeah, his parents will be there. It'll be
certainly going to be an emotional day, but his parents certainly could use the support, showing of support for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yep. And we've been light on our events this year just because it's the weight catches up to you, so sometimes you got to dial back to adjust. But we have some other events coming up later on this year that we'll be posting up on our events page. As you're showing that Get Involved is a nice page. There's one way that we could get a lot of support potentially is by voting on My Giving Circle there. If you find us and vote for us, it's free to vote. If we hit, I think we need 22,000 votes to get into first place. I don't know if that's even possible, but you can vote once a week. That's a free way to support us. And then there's ways you can start fundraisers on our page right there as well, or go right to the donate page and support our mission and help the service members that are in our program getting care.
Wow.
And
this is
and Mike and Jolee, with your donate page, if people just donate monetary, do y'all also provide tax-free for those that are looking? Okay. I just want to put that out there.
They get the receipt. They get the receipt from when they purchase. Sorry, it's a little laggy there, but they'll get a donation receipt. It's 100% tax deductible. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a journey. We're still plugging away. Still, people are still knocking at the door to get the help they need, and we'll continue to do that. Now, one other thing that we do is, we try to speak at speaking engagements, podcasts, things like that. We worked on a Breaking the Stigma workshop that we can also provide as well as a service to kind of get informed companies and their staff on what are some of the challenges that not just military members are facing, but hey, how do we deal with our mental health and how do we put it first, right? And take it seriously and get the help that we need and look at self-care and break down the stigmas that are keeping us from saying, hey, I'm hurting today. I'm not okay today. Let's talk. So it's just been amazing work, and working with my best friend is kind of the best thing that we could do, and we kind of rely on each other.
I feel like that's a song.
What?
You don't want to hear me sing.
No, we don't. No.
Well,
You do not want to hear me sing.
I will tell you this from my own humble opinion and my little point of view is the love between y'all two has to be so strong, because what y'all have endured would have broken up so many marriages. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
even a quarter of what y'all had to endure, what breaks up marriages. I know right now the big meme right now with that couple that got caught on the, you know what I'm saying? And you look at them and you're like, oh, they had to be living a perfect life, right? And here you two are that got hit by something in life that no parent ever wants to go through. Not only losing a child, but in the way that you had to lose your child, right? And so I think it's just a testament to not only the love that you have between each other, but regardless of what your religious views are, our great creator that brought that love together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really like them still.
Yeah. But hey, can we live with? I want to make a point. I've noticed a couple of the comments I came across, just like an education moment. One thing that we've learned and try to educate people on over the years is the word committed. I don't think a lot of people understand that when they say to a surviving family, someone committed suicide, there's a negative connotation along with the word committed, right? And it goes back to years ago, it used to be a crime to kill yourself because it was a crime and it was a criminal offense, and that's why I was committing suicide. And so, but what it does is it's kind of like a kick in the groin to the family members, because they died by suicide. If someone dies has a heart attack, we don't say they committed a heart attack. We say they have a heart attack. And so just a point, a note that, if you're talking with a surviving family member or someone, try to avoid the word committed and use died by instead, in general, just as a PSA there.
And I want to add that our daughter had to teach us that. Because at first I was like, no, it's fine. Like even after we lost Macoy, I was like, no, it's fine. And then she was like, no, Mom, it's not.
Yeah.
And then I started hearing other people say committed suicide, and I was like, oh.
That's how the world lies to us.
Yeah.
I always say I lost a daughter to suicide.
Yeah. Yeah. We say died by.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a little PSA. That's all.
Now, something that I wanted to mention for the people that are in the military that are listening and watching, and all the veterans too have experienced this, right? Everybody will talk about they had a problem child, somebody they had trouble with. And I like to remind people that they know this in the business world, and the military has taken forever to catch up to it. But you don't hire people that are not qualified.
Yeah.
Macoy was qualified, right? So now when you have a problem with somebody that's in your command, whether it's junior or senior, there's nothing wrong with that person. They were qualified. I mean, as long as they didn't lie to get in the military, right? So now any issues that you're having, those are leadership problems. Those are your problems as leaders to figure out and attend to and fix. we don't get to sidestep them by saying, oh, this person is a problem, and then write them off. No, that person's qualified and they're having a human problem, and you as a leader are now supposed to do your job and find out how to help them. And far too often people let themselves out the hook with, I'm sure that they don't do it, knowingly, but by looking at a person as, oh, this person's a problem that I have to get rid of. And that's not it. That's a qualified service member that it's your responsibility to lead and to help and bring along. The America's mothers and fathers entrust their children to you as a leader for you to do the right thing. And I hope that will help people change the way they think about it, to look at each person that comes to them as a human being,
Yeah.
Right.
As
Not
a
a piece of
human being,
property.
yeah.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, people sign on the dotted line of first responders or the military because, among other reasons, the idea of the ideals put forth by those organizations is appealing. It's and when we all sign on the dotted line, we are signing not 100% of the time, but much of the time, because of what we think the organization is. And then, unfortunately, we find out sometimes what the organization actually is.
Yeah.
And that can be the deepest form of violation. That's the first thing I'll tell you. The second thing I'll tell you is sometimes we've never seen this before. And that is another factor in this type of violation. We've never seen it before, and that's what makes it so visceral to have to deal with. We often talk around here about the first cut is always the deepest. And maybe Macoy had never seen this level of violation before. Maybe you guys haven't as well. Also, this terrible type of violation is as old as time. And I say that because if you've ever read the Iliad, what a lot of people don't know, the subtitle of the Iliad is The Rage of Achilles. And what that refers to is Achilles, the great mythical military leader who was victorious in countless battles for king and country, etc., came back after all of those battles and found out that his trusted leaders had betrayed him. And that was the wellspring of that rage. Maybe that idea sounds a little familiar to you guys. Maybe it doesn't. I'm just giving you ideas here. But the last thing I'll tell you is, and this may offer you no solace whatsoever, but I'm going to tell you anyway. If this captain, now an admiral, is the kind of so-called person that I think he is, as well as those who blindly followed orders and aided and abetted, they may be alive and seemingly well, but I have seen a few examples of people like this who are slowly through time being eaten from the inside out.
Yeah.
It is a long, slow process of being consumed by your own profound character flaws, the damage that you have done.
Yeah.
And on his last day on this earth, it'll be interesting to see what his face looks like as a man who has no morals, clearly, and is being eaten from the inside out by the decisions that he has made and the ghosts that haunt him and will haunt him for all eternity.
Yeah.
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 I'm thinking about about McCoy's TBI too.
Yeah.
The most people who have never been around somebody with a TBI, they hear it and they're not sure what it is. And so usually what the focus becomes on next is what happened. They want to know about either the head injury or they want to hear about the explosion that happened, and then they feel for the person. But what most people don't realize is when you have 2 or more people who have had TBIs, when they talk to each other, they don't talk about the event. They talk about how that TBI has changed them. They talk about how their thinking has changed and the way they react to things changed. And that's something that, you know, if people don't learn more about, they're not going to understand it. And so, you know, on top of Macoy carrying this weight of what he had to do for his first duty station, you know, and in reverence of other service members, then he has a head injury on top of that. And, you know, some people, it changes their personality completely, you know, and there needs to be a lot more compassion in dealing with people that have got TBIs, especially if they're still on active duty, right? If you've got somebody, you know, that's, if you're on active duty and you've got a service member who's had a TBI, you're going to have to treat them, I don't want to say softer, but you're going to have to treat them a little bit differently than you would as somebody that doesn't, or you need to at least understand why they think or do the things they do or the way they do it, you know? And that'll go a long way to actually, you know, humanizing people, and instead of treating them as a problem to be dealt with, instead of, hey, this is a person who needs some help with some things. You know, it doesn't mean that they can't do their jobs, but they're just, you know, they're coming from a different perspective slightly than most people.
And it's almost like whatever documentation he had about his TBI was just ignored completely on the West Coast. Completely.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that, Michael. Now that Nate was talking about the TBI, it reminded me about how sorry, my dogs are going crazy. There's someone delivering something to the house. How y'all spoke about his TBI and his PTSD wasn't taken seriously or into account because they're like, well, you never saw combat, and that is I just I don't. That's something I've been trying to speak out about a lot as well too, is because one thing that we say in the veteran community and even in the active duty world, the first person that's going to eat someone alive first is another vet. A vet will destroy another vet quickly. An active duty member will try to discredit or destroy another active duty quicker than anyone else. And so I can't what I imagine, as I was going to say, I can't imagine. Actually, I can. What I probably imagine is these were people that had already deployed, right? That probably already had sailors that maybe little hole in the lip.
I don't know if you've seen me, but I've been like wiping things up over here, and I think it's just leaking like crazy.
But right,
man, it's really wet.
But yeah, he probably had leaders that had deployed, you know, on numerous occasions. Those leaders are probably dealing with their own mental health, and they probably didn't get the proper care that they wanted, and it just trickled. I'm not making excuses for them by no means, right? But it just, I think what I'm trying to say is to show how even in these organizations, we will pull anything out to discredit someone's mental health because, oh, you don't have it as bad as I did. You know, you didn't have it as bad as I did when I came in the 90s and had to go through September 11th and be deployed on boots on ground. How dare you now want to complain about this? But like we said earlier, having to do 5, 6, 7 funeral proceedings, you know, a day, and not just on our older veterans that passed away of old age, you know, but these are almost your peers. And it has to hit you so close to home to know that shit, when I go on a ship, that's not even safe because we had 7 on the Fitzgerald and then the McCain happened like 3 months later, right? So I can't even imagine it. And I think that's one thing is people need to stop comparing traumas, injuries, and just look at each individual person as how we're going to treat them. Hey, this sailor, this Marine has a TBI. Doesn't matter how they got the TBI. If it was diagnosed
It's
a
a
TBI, it's a
TBI,
TBI. You
right.
know, this person has PTSD. Doesn't matter whether it was combat related, sexual assault related, which are the two big ones, right? But it could have been
Right.
in a motor vehicle accident, right?
Right.
They could be walking into a toxic leadership every day. And I say this because I was one of those sailors that literally would sit in my car up until the very last second saying, I don't want to walk into this building. I do not want to
Yeah.
fucking deal with the leaders in this building. And the only
Yeah.
reason I did on those days is because I was the E6. So I had junior sailors. So I knew if I was feeling that way, I definitely knew that they were feeling that way.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it has been such a blessing and such an honor for us to have you here with us tonight. You have opened so much to us. You, for me personally, gave me the face of a young man that I read about, that my heart broke when I read about it. Nowhere near as much as y'all's. I do not want to compare that. But to bring him to life for us tonight and help me to get to know who McCoy was, uh, I wish I would have had the honor to have served alongside your son. And I am so sorry that the organization that I gave 22 years to wasn't there to protect your son. And I know that cannot bring him back, Jolee and Mike, but I want you to, as well, to know this. You have a lifelong friend in this fight. Before we get off and everything, I'll make sure I get y'all's contact information so we can stay in touch. If there's ever anything any of us three can ever do in order to
Yes.
support y'all in this fight, one thing I'll talk for my other two brothers. We are here on the long road with you with this.
Thank you.
you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
honoring us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you for allowing us to share.
Guys, do we have anything
Yeah.
else before we give the last 5 minutes to Mike and Jolee?
I just want to say to him, I pray that the Lord keeps blessing this ministry you guys are doing. You're doing God's work. And I just pray that He just keeps finding ways to provide for you to continue helping people. What you guys are doing is a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
The only thing I can offer, you guys know what I do. Really, I'm kind of a one-trick pony. I'm the PTSD guy. I'm a storyteller. I get to a microphone and I yell, and I yell loud and long. I tell stories. I don't use any psychobabble. If anybody's watching this, I don't use psychobabble when I do this. I don't use the verbal flatulence of clinical terms and whatnot. I'm a storyteller, but I include all the symptomology of PTSD and I bring it to light. That is just about it's what I do best, or so they tell me. So if you can fit me in to forward your cause, you guys got my phone number.
Yes.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't want to see Doc Barry and Silkies though.
Wow.
I know that you're local, so if you want to put some silkies on and join us, you're more than welcome.
Or at least come out.
The only manufacturer sufficiently equipped for the cause would be Omar the tent maker. So no, I thank you.
Yeah.
And so, Michael and Jolee, we have a few more minutes left. If for you guys, if there's anything left that we might have forgotten to go over that you want to reiterate, this is your time before we officially sign off.
Well, I just, if you've watched this and if this strikes a chord, this conversation strikes a chord with you, or you have a service member in your family or in your life that you know is struggling, we're happy to be a resource for them, to lift them up and get them connected with some really compassionate, amazing therapists that are doing really good work. Our website right there is www.hicksstrong.org.
One word, two S's.
One word, two S's. But if you do one S, it will go to the right place. I own that one too. But really, the service members that are in our care, they need your support. Financially, it's a lot, takes a lot of finances to be able to connect a service member, get them the care, and make sure that it's covered for them. We have a phrase or a saying: every $1,000 raised is a life saved, because it costs us $1,000 to put a service member through our program. So if you're feeling moved, please support our mission on our website. Make a donation. You can donate on Facebook. We're out there. We are platinum candid transparency seal holders, which means that you can find out all our financial information on candid.org. Just look up Hicks Strong if you want to know how the money's going and how we're saving people. So your support is needed, and we just appreciate you for listening. Thank you for joining this podcast and having us on and giving us the ability to share Macoy with you in such a personal, intimate way. We appreciate it.
Well, thank y'all once
Wow,
again.
you guys do a better job at that than we do.
All right. Well, with that, everyone, it's been a great conversation. We could probably go on for another 2 hours, which also opens up an invite for if y'all ever want to come back. And we don't have to do 2 hours. Y'all just want to come back and just plug in some of more events or whatever's going on. We can do that too. But once again, Jolee, Michael, thank you. Thank you so much for showing us who Macoy was and bringing him to life for us this evening. With that being said, everyone, to piggyback off of, I didn't want to say that, but to piggyback off what Mike said, if you find yourself just needing someone to talk to, please do not hesitate to reach out to somebody and talk to somebody. Somebody is there for you. Somebody loves you, and somebody will always provide the time to listen to you. Doc Barry, what's going on?
As you've heard me say, well, you
thanks
guys,
for the audience.
you
Say
open
thanks
your
for the
mouth.
audience members too.
Yes, folks, listen up. You open your mouth, and the pain comes out. I can't make it any simpler than that. You open your mouth, and the pain comes out. That I promise you. That's it.
All right. And with that, we want to say good night to everyone. Very much thank you, like Nate said, to our viewers this evening that were so engaged tonight. We appreciate everything, and we definitely appreciate all the warm responses that y'all gave to Mike and Jolee as they went down this journey tonight. So with that being said, good night, everyone. Many blessings, and we'll see y'all next round.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.